Off the morning, what we're seeing is major power outages as a result of a lot of snow that came down overnight. Estimates come in of about 30,000 people without power. That's according to Avista. And right now, snowfall totals are just beyond about 3.5 inches. Now, a lot of the snow came down overnight and into the early morning hours of this morning. And of course, in some cases, it is still coming down. I want to give you a look at what we see right now on satellite radar. As you can see, the bulk of the activity has taken place over the Spokane County area and into Kootenai County. Most other counties have not been severely affected, but nonetheless, a lot of wind overnight contributed to this as well. So you can see what's coming down as we speak. I'm going to take away the clouds and give you a little bit of a closer look at what we see right now. Let me see if I can get that going as we speak. But it looks like we're seeing most of, as I mentioned, the trouble coming over just the Spokane County area, Airway Heights, Spokane South Hill. So one of those prominent things that we're talking about is more than 30,000 people without power. That's according to Avista that they're responding to now. We're standing by to see if we have any delays or closures for schools. No road closures to note of right now, but you do want to make sure to take note of any possible trees that are down because of a lot of wind that came overnight. Because of that wind and because of those heavy limbs of trees, it was easy for trees to snap overnight. We saw many cases of pictures of down tree lines, and Avista has tweeted out multiple tweets being aware of power outages and down power lines as well. A little bit of a wider look of watches and warnings shows that Spokane and Coeur d'Alene not under a winter weather advisory, but areas off to the east of Coeur d'Alene are around North Idaho and all the way down toward the southeast corner of Washington. These expire at 11 a.m. So we're not expecting this snow to last for much longer. In fact, in most cases, a lot of it has already tapered off and is coming to a halt as we speak. So the bulk of that is coming overnight from about 10 p.m. through about 3 and 4 a.m. Let's see if we can throw up some of those pictures that we have. This is just a board of different tweets that we've gotten from viewers, from our own fire department, from our anchors, so you can see how much of that came down. Again, the National Weather Service estimates that upwards of 3.3 inches is what we're talking about overnight. I'd say, judging by what we've seen, estimates are closer to 4 or 5 inches, especially on Spokane South Hill, where the bulk of those power outages are. There's also a heavy amount of power outages around the Airway Heights area, closer to the Spokane airport, where a lot of that came down. You can kind of see the bigger picture shows with watches and warnings that an area off toward Montana, most areas off toward Montana, toward the Dakotas, down toward Wyoming, picked up on snow as well. All that area in pink that you see on your screen here is a winter storm warning, and everywhere in blue is a winter weather advisory. So notice that the Spokane area is not under anything right now. We don't see any watches or warnings in effect. The same goes for state lines. So right now we are seeing the possibility that maybe something will be issued, but most of it has tapered off over just the last about 30 minutes. A huge part of this, and one of the reasons why there are so many power outages this morning, is because of the wind that came along with the snow. We know what 3 to 4 inches of snow is like. Number one, this happened very early, so it was record-breaking snow for the time that it came in. Number two, wind accompanied a lot of it. So we saw wind gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour last night. Sustained wind speeds this morning clocked in at 20 miles an hour. So 20 mile per hour sustained winds after snow has already weighed down those tree limbs is the causing starting line of a lot of those trees coming down, and in turn some of those power lines going down. Wind gusts over the next 12 hours look like this. We'll stick in the 20 mile per hour range for about the next couple hours through 9 and 10 a.m. Drop down to the teens 11 a.m. through about the afternoon. Afternoon and evening, most of these winds will calm down pretty significantly. But notice these sustained wind speeds. As I mentioned, when you have 4 inches of snow weighing down some of these very already heavy trees, since a lot of them still haven't lost their leaves, we're talking a lot holding these trees down. So when we pick up on 17 mile per hour winds or 20 mile per hour winds, and again, these are sustained winds, not gusts, it is very easy for a lot of those tree limbs to go down and in turn take down some of those power lines. Current temperatures are also very chilly out there. We're still going to be seeing these temperatures cool down over about the next, I'd say, 4 hours or so. It is 32 degrees, so just around freezing in Spokane and Deer Park, 30 degrees in Coeur d'Alene, 32 for St. Mary's, 37 for Ritzville, and 41 for Moses Lake. Hour by hour, you can see how today's actually going to probably promote a good chance of the snow melting. We have our temperatures rising above that freezing point by the afternoon, though we're probably going to cap out at about 46 degrees. Chances are we may even stay colder than that thanks to any cloud cover or still remaining snow on the ground, which means we could maybe see those temperatures come to about 43 for an afternoon high. If that happens, if we hit 43 degrees this afternoon, and that's the highest we get, that will be 20 degrees below average. So very cool temperatures, snow, wind, all of that this morning. As far as our chances going into the next several hours, notice how they drop off. We're at 20% of a chance of isolated snow showers, not rain showers, snow showers, before things taper off. We did see this initially start as rain, right? So yesterday we talked about the possibility of it coming down all as rain or maybe seeing that quick transition into snow. It looks like the Spokane County area caught that quick transition, and that really happened earlier than anticipated since a lot of that was coming down heavy as rain into the about 8 o'clock hour last night. This is some video that we have where you could see different downed trees, and this is what we're talking about of the possibility of so many power outages. Right now, as I mentioned, if you're just tuning in, Avista is estimating more than 30,000 people are without power this morning. They are also encouraging and really reminding you to not approach any down power lines, to act as if any power lines are active still. So we're, of course, still keeping tabs on when we see that power coming back. And this is another video that we've got of what those roads look like. So a good idea this morning, if you are headed out anytime soon, to take it slow on the roads. Those roads could see a lot of trouble today. Take it slower on the roads, and keep in mind there is still some of that snow falling over the next hour or so. So we're still dealing with about that 20% limited visibility. We are going to check back in with the forecast, and we're going to take a look at the 7-day as well as what we have to come over the next several hours. But now at 4:37, we do want to check in with Dana Marie McNichol. She is live in the mobile storm tracker this morning. Dana Marie, I'm assuming that those roads are looking really rough right now. I'll send things over to you.
Oh, yeah, Evan. I mean, we are right now on Southeast Boulevard, and it is... trees are everywhere. I'm going to turn you guys around right away so you can see what I'm looking at. There's actually a guy that just pulled up. Looked like he's surveying the jury right in the middle of the road. If you are taking your commute this morning, expect major delays. One lane only right now is open on Southeast Boulevard, at least where I am. And then as you're coming up and down into the South Hill and then into downtown as well, you're going to be seeing some major delays as well. Trees are down, like you were saying, Evan, because of those sustained winds and because of the heavy rainfall and the moisture. Limbs are going to continue to fall as the day gets on. You also mentioned that it's 32 degrees out, which is still freezing, which makes for icy road conditions. I was just kind of getting driving us down, and we're going to give you a live look at what we're seeing. But even in a mobile storm tracker, 4-wheel drive, we're taking it slow. Especially, we're going to be live all morning long, bringing you live updates. If you have any pictures or road conditions, please use the hashtag #UpWithCrem. Tweet at us, post on Facebook, let us know the conditions so we could share with people here in Spokane what to look out for. Just expect those delays. You could plan for even a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes past what you're normally expecting, because there are so many power outages. 30,000 people, Avista is saying, are without power this morning, and there's no word on exactly when crews are going to be picking up these trees out of the roads. But really slick, wet conditions, still pretty icy here. We're coming up to a tree on the side, if you can see that, the road. We're right by there. Careful, the guys on the road. It's not great conditions out there.
All right, so it looks like we're having some trouble getting Dana Marie's feed. We're working to get that back up, of course, but just to touch on a couple of the things that she mentioned, more than 30,000 people right now without power. If you're tuning in on Facebook Live, we do want to let you know that Avista is responding to these outages. Another thing that they mentioned, as Dana Marie said, is that that morning commute is going to be tough. So the fire department and police department have told us they are expecting delays on the roads this morning. Can we see what our DOT cameras look like? If we have those up, I'd love to be able to see. So this is what some of the roads look like right now. Notice that it really depends on where you are. Some spots toward downtown haven't been hit quite as hard, but take a look at the snow on the sidelines of those roads. We also have seen snow accumulating on the South Hill, multiple inches of snow, as you can see in this video here. So it really depends on which roads you're traveling on as to what you're seeing. Also keep in mind, as we said, some of the problems blocking the roads are not related to snow. They're related to downed tree limbs or power lines. Again, Avista encouraging you, if you are seeing any downed power lines or trees, do not approach them. Act as if they are still live. Call Avista. They will be responding, and they already are responding to a lot of those calls. I do want to get to a little bit more of the forecast of what we see right now. 32 degrees is the current temperature out there. Sub-freezing temperatures expected across the northwest over the next several hours. Wind speeds are out of the northeast at 17 miles an hour. Again, reiterating, these are not gusts. These are your sustained speeds. So when you have sustained speeds of 17 miles an hour, we're seeing gusts upwards of 20 and 30 miles an hour. So far this morning, we haven't seen many extreme gusts come in, but late last night, toward yesterday evening, we were picking up on those 30-mile-per-hour gusts. Along with that, visibility, of course, limited. It looks like much of the Kootenai County area is still seeing a few of those light dustings of snow. If you have any photos or videos, please send them our way. We would love to throw them on the air here. Send those pictures to pics@krem.com. You can also share them on social media with the hashtag KremWeather or UpWithKrem. We are seeing visibility looking okay around the Spokane and Kootenai County area, but again, Coeur d'Alene is one of the trouble spots, especially as you move off toward areas like Lookout Pass. It looks like we might be encountering some trouble too with some fog, so we'll of course keep tabs on that. I want to give you a little bit of a closer look at how we see all of this snow tapering off, right? So this is continuing all the way on through your Wednesday and then into your Thursday, where we don't see any problems related to additional snowfall. Most of that snow is coming to a halt as we speak, but what we're going to be waiting on over the next several hours is how quickly power is able to be restored and how quickly we're able to see these temperatures warm up enough to promote the melting of the snow. Of course, it will probably be at least 4 hours before we see any melting at all. If anything, between now and the next 4 hours, we will see a little bit of additional snow and bring totals to closer to 4 inches overnight, which again is record breaking. But we also could just see a little bit of freeze over the roads and on grasses and sidewalks and all that kind of stuff. So even if you're walking to work, for example, you still want to be able to be cautious of that morning commute. As far as high temperatures go, we are only going to warm up to the 40s in most areas. Spokane actually should say about 44 degrees, 45 degrees maybe. It looks like afternoon highs off toward Montana, where we do have winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. Those temperatures are around the 30-degree marker, so 37 for Libby, 37 for Kalispell, and 34 for Missoula. Central Washington may make it to the 50s this afternoon. One thing that I also want to note there is that 24-hour temperature change. So we were talking about a cold front that was going to come through and really bring a lot of that rain and possible snow. Look at how between 24 hours ago and right now, those temperatures have dropped like a rock. It is 23 degrees colder right now in Coeur d'Alene than just 24 hours ago. It is 21 degrees colder in Spokane. So last night, overnight, we saw plenty of clouds, but no real rain, not much of many cold temperatures coming through. So in turn, we kept those temperatures mainly in the 40s, upper 40s or so overnight. Now, as we head into your Wednesday morning, we're seeing those temperatures down in the low 30s, in some cases upper 20s. That's what's causing this extreme drop in temperatures. So 20 degrees colder right now in Bonners Ferry than at this time yesterday morning, 19 degrees colder in Moses Lake, and 13 in Omak. Let's look at that 7-day forecast where we do have a good potential for this snow to melt pretty rapidly. We're responding, of course, to this mainly mainly because of the power outages that it's caused. But for 3 inches of snow, it's typical for us of maybe, mid-December or even November, but we're really not used to an early October snowfall of this magnitude. That's kind of what is significant about this, is how early it's arrived, especially in its close proximity to a record-breaking snowfall that came just about a week and a half ago. So again, to reiterate, these snow levels are record for this time in October. We have never seen this much snow in the Spokane area or measured at the Spokane airport at this time early in the season. That's according to the National Weather Service. And we also have, of course, picked up on plenty of wind. But as I mentioned, this is almost probably going to look like it never happened by about tomorrow. If those temperatures warm up to the mid-40s and into the 50s by Thursday, I'd say a good amount of that snow on the ground, if it's not already cleared of the roadways, will probably be clear on the sidelines of the roadways. And then take a look at that temperature warm up into Friday and Saturday, where we go to the mid to upper 50s. That will definitely promote a lot more of the snowfall, even up toward the mountains. Along with that, of course, make sure you're taking caution over any of the mountain passes or any higher elevations that you're traveling along. Stay tuned for any possible road closures or school closures. We have not received any quite yet, but we are anticipating the possibility of, if schools can't regain power, that they will be at least delayed for the day. Right now, it looks like school buses should be able to run smoothly, since most of those roads don't look to have too much accumulating snow. But that's another thing that we will be keeping tabs on. So it is 4:46 right now. Let's pull up that tag board again, where we have additional pictures and videos coming in of this snowfall. It looks like we're still seeing some areas of the Spokane South Hill, including around Airway Heights and down toward Highway 195, where we're picking up on some of that snow still, but as we mentioned, there is a heavy chance that most of this snow will taper off over about the next hour or so, and we'll see most of that come to a halt. Wind speeds still in the about 15 to 20 mile per hour range, and keeping things within the very good possibility of additional trees and power lines going down. So as I mentioned, if you're just tuning in with us here, this is breaking news coverage of several inches of snow that came down overnight. Spokane Airport is estimating upwards of 3 inches of snow on the ground between last night and this morning, and more than 30,000 people are without power as we speak. Avista is, of course, aware of that. They're addressing the issue now, but say that they are going to, of course, need additional time to repair those outages. And keep sending your pictures and videos in that you have. It looks like we can also take a live look at what we're seeing right now outside. This is from the mobile storm tracker, where, as we mentioned, it is really dependent on where you are. It looks like the South Hill was hit especially hard with that wet snow, but still accumulating on the roads. Where the mobile storm tracker is right now, there is snow on the roads, but because of how many cars have already traveled through over about the last hour, we look to be okay as far as travel goes. So if you are seeing any problems or encounter any tree lines down or any tree or power lines down on the roads, you are, of course, encouraged to contact Avista, and emergency crews are working to clear those up. All morning long, we have been listening to sirens around the South Hill area, clearly showing that these issues are being addressed on the South Hill as we speak. So it looks like Spokane Public Schools has just announced that they are closed. We are still waiting on finding out if that means that they're closed for the day.
They say cancel.
Okay. So that's another breaking news announcement right now. It looks like Spokane Public Schools has said that all Spokane Public Schools are closed today due to the loss of power and likely due to the road conditions as well. One of the reasons likely for this is because of just how early this came. As we mentioned, there have been days in Spokane's past where we pick up on 3, 4, 5 inches of snow in a day and schools are still open. The reason for this is largely because of the wind that came along with that snow overnight and because of how early in the season that it came. So because it's so early on into just the month of October, many of those schools weren't prepared. I would assume that most of those school buses won't be able to get chains on their tires as quickly. So if you're just joining us us again, Spokane Public Schools has said that all schools are closed for the day. We are still standing by, as we mentioned, for additional school delays or closures. There is a good chance that schools on the outside of Spokane County could be closed or at least delayed due to the possible power outages in their areas. There are also, of course, schools that are outside of the Spokane Public Schools limit that could be closing. So, of course, we're keeping tabs on this. There is also the latest information on our website at krem.com. Here's a live look that we have outside right now. We've been talking about some downed power lines and trees, and we're continuing to monitor that situation. The time is just hitting 5:50 now. We will be live here from 5 a.m. until 7 a.m. on KREM 2. We will also be on from 7 to 9 on the CW, but we're going to leave you right now with what we see outside as we speak. Again, as I mentioned, we will be back in just about 10 minutes live on KREM 2. We are also hoping to stream all of this live on Facebook. Thanks so much for joining us on your Wednesday morning as we continue to track this breaking news.
This has been breaking news from KREM 2 News. For more information on this story, keep it tuned right here or log on to krem.com.
So help heal your skin from within and talk to your eczema specialist about Dupixent.